General Ghika, thank you very much for joining us. I know it's a difficult time, and we're honored that we have several minutes of your time. I know it's a difficult moment, but a very important one. So how are you feeling today?
Well, I think I speak for everybody in the United Kingdom when I say how sad we are at the loss of an incredible queen. But we're also everybody in the military who's responsible for some of the arrangements around her funeral. We feel immensely privileged to have the opportunity to take part, but also we're determined to do our duty for her.
When did you meet for the first time the late queen, and how was it?
So I first met her when I was on guard at Windsor Castle in 1994, and I was lucky enough to be asked to go and have dinner with her. And it was an amazing experience. There were not very many of us there, and she was incredibly welcoming, incredibly kind, but very interested in the work of the armed forces and in what we were doing.
Were you nervous at that time? Because people usually tell stories. I was freaking out because I was prepared. I knew what to do, but then everything.
Yes, I was nervous. I was a young officer of 24 years old, and suddenly I found myself sitting next to the Queen at dinner. So I was very nervous, but she was amazingly kind to me and very quickly put me at my ease, as we say in England.
Yeah, everybody says that about her, and I'm very glad to hear that. What is the moment you cherish the most with Queen Elizabeth?
I think there are several. I've been lucky enough to meet her several times through my military career, and I think some of the most the memories I will cherish most about going to brief her in my current job about the household division and about the activities and the variety and what the soldiers of the household division are doing. That's been really, really special.
I also know that your father also served the Queen. Did he tell you something about her?
Yes, he said much the same as me, and I think he was lucky enough to serve her for a long time. And he said the same sort of thing, how kind, interested she was, but also what an example she was to us all of duty and service.
Is that something we could learn from the Queen, even if we are not royalty?
I think definitely. Of course, she is a cherished national leader, but she's also an international icon. And her example of duty, self-sacrifice, commitment and professionalism is something that I think everybody can learn from. In the armed services in the United Kingdom, it's an example we try to follow every day. But I think one of the reasons she was such an internationally respected figure is because of her example and her duty over such a long period.
What was the most difficult time, the most difficult moment serving the Queen? We know you faced terrorists, ISIS. I mean, I'm sure you were not frightened by the protocol, by the royal protocol, but still, was there a moment, a difficult one, when you were like, everything has to be perfect, or?
I think the principles that in the army we follow about professionalism, thorough planning, rehearsals, and being calm under pressure, we apply those principles to everything we do. So in many ways, the preparations we're conducting for the funeral are much the same as we apply to any military operation. And so I think, have there been challenging moments? Yes, of course. But actually, if you apply the same principles of professionalism and dedication, then things tend to go well.
What was the most beautiful part in serving the Queen, in commanding the household division for you?
Well, I think for anybody in the household division, we are the Queen's personal troops. And I think it is a privilege to be in the household division. And I think the moments I cherish most are probably at either end of the activity line. I cherish my moments conducting operations in Iraq and Afghanistan and the Balkans and places like that. I think acting, for the greater good. But I also cherish my moments conducting state ceremonial for the Queen back in England. And I too hold those moments conducting operations abroad, but also state ceremonial at home, very close to my heart.
Tell me now, please, a little bit of your Romanian roots. Because
yes. Yes. Of course, my grandparents, of course, lived in Romania. And then my father grew up there until he was about 8 or 9 years old. And then my father came to England at the start of the Second World War. My grandparents couldn't leave until the mid-1950s. They left in the mid-1950s and sadly both died before they could return to Romania. But my father visited Romania then on several occasions, the first occasion being in 1994. And we obviously went to Bucharest, visited Mogoșoaia and Posada. And in more recent times, my sister and I have also had the opportunity to visit.
And since then, have you been in Romania since then?
Absolutely, yes. In more recent times, my sister and I have had the opportunity to visit several times. And I was last there, I think, about 2 years ago. But before COVID.
Okay. Maybe now I'm thinking, well, is there a hope maybe that King Charles III will come to Romania and maybe you will join him? And can we hope that now?
Well, I think the King will hope to travel as much as he can to all countries in the world. But I just think we'll have to see how those plans unfold. He's only been the King for a week and a bit, and so I think we'll give him a bit of time to work it out.
What's the most important thing for you for Monday? Everybody on the planet is watching with sadness, but with hope. Direction London, the Romanian people also. For you, what's the most important for that day, such a big day? Not only sadness, but also hope and respect. How do you see it?
Yes, I mean, I think so many emotions. I think huge sadness at the passing of a great queen, our queen in England. I think also huge pride at her work and in the work that she has been able to do over the last 70 years. But more than anything, I think we will want to do our best for her. We will want to do our final duty for our queen and our first duty for our new king.
Is there something you can, share with us, a personal thought or a personal gesture that you will do at the funerals that is important, that was chosen for this moment? I don't know, a military one, or anything you can tell, and it's for the large public. Nothing that is from the protocol. I'm not asking that, but maybe something very personal that you have managed to think for this moment.
So I think I'm lucky enough to be marching in the funeral procession in London and also the funeral procession in Windsor. And so that's a huge privilege, and I will be doing my best, and I'll be reflecting on the professionalism and the commitment of the young men and women in the armed forces who were all, at the time, doing their absolute best to deliver the best performance they can for their queen. And when it's done, I hope we will all be, thousands of young men and women who are all equally proud to serve their queen, will say, we did our very best for her and we delivered an amazing performance.
I want to ask you, please, if you feel that you want to share something else with us and I didn't ask you, feel free to tell us.
Sure. Well, I think that it's been a very busy time. We're preparing for a very big operation with a lot of people. And I think I will reflect afterwards on the huge loss. I have not really had time to think about the significance of it so far because we have been so busy. But I think that personally for me, once it all finishes, then I will sit down and I'll reflect on it. And that's, I think, when it will really hit home to me at the loss that we have suffered. And at that point, I think I'll be very glad that we did a good job and showed the respect and the dedication we have for our Queen around the world.
As for us, we watched you because we've been in London for the Jubilee. We've watched you for the Platinum Jubilee, and we were so proud of you being a Romanian. You know, we were just saying, you know, General Ghika, he's a Romanian. And it was such a beautiful moment. And I wanted to ask you, you know, I already said my last question. Well, maybe this is my last question, actually. Were you happy then? Because what I saw during the ceremonies, during the Platinum Jubilee, was a huge joy. And love and respect was such a great face of London then. What were you feeling at that moment? Because you were very, very there also.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the Platinum Jubilee was an amazing opportunity for the people of this country to demonstrate their loyalty and dedication to the Queen. And when we have these big events, the Queen is immensely popular in the United Kingdom, as she is around the world and in the Commonwealth. But when the big events happen, like the Platinum Jubilee, it's an opportunity for everybody to show how much they respect and how loyal they are to the Queen. And we saw that in amazing scale back in June in London, 1 million people, you know. And I think it was a great great confirmation for the Queen that she's still loved and respected around the country.
Was Her Majesty happy, touched, nervous? Because there were not only British people, there were people from all over the world. I saw them sleeping at night, during the night, sleeping there outside near Buckingham Palace. Immense joy.
I mean, I can't tell you how she was feeling, but I talked to her after the Trooping of the Colour, and she seemed very happy, and I think very pleased that people were able to come to London and to celebrate with each other, with the whole country, and reflect on her very long reign.
Thank you very much, General Ghika. I know your time is very, very limited now, so this is all.
Well, it's a very great pleasure to talk to you, Anna, and thank you for your time.